Welcome everyone to the Social Innovation Conference brought to you by the Social Outcomes Lab and supported by the Australian National University and the ACT government. My name is Shadab Parvez, and today we will be talking to Mr. Rajiv Ahmed from Bangladesh about pivoting during COVID-19. But before we start, I'd like to begin by acknowledging the Bejigal people of the Eora Nation as the traditional custodians of the land where I'm conducting this webinar today in Walleye Creek, Sydney. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands from where our viewers are joining us from today. I'd also like to pay my deep respects to elders past, present, and emerging. I'd like to acknowledge the rich culture and wisdom of Aboriginal people of Australia. Lastly, I'd like to acknowledge the trauma and pain and suffering that Aboriginal people have endured and that Aboriginal people still face considerable gaps in social outcomes compared to the rest of the population in Australia. The Social Outcomes Lab is committed to working together to reduce these gaps in whatever shape or form we can. Now, with the coronavirus pandemic is a challenge of our time. The time for organizations to build for speed is now. This will be a long process, and leaders must leap into the arena and recognize that many of their familiar organizational constructs will need to be reimagined. That also includes SMEs, micro businesses all the way through to very large organizations. Many companies, at least initially, thought of the post-pandemic return as an event, and they would turn on the lights and go back to work just as they had done before. But it's becoming increasingly clear, however, that for many, returning to work will be a process that could take a year or more, and that they cannot go back to the way they were. Instead, companies will want to seize the moment to reimagine and reinvent the future, building new muscle and capabilities to come back strong. Even well-run companies may find that they need to reinvent themselves more than once. Now, with that, we would like to start our discussion today with Mr. Rajiv Ahmed from Bangladesh. Rajiv Bhai, please feel free to give everybody an introduction of yourself. You've done some amazing things, and I think you're the best person to give an insight to that.
Okay, I can already say that quite a few of our members from Bangladesh from different platforms have joined the live, and I'd like to thank all of them because I can see already that 497 persons have joined at this moment, and this is going to increase, and I'm hoping that many people will watch the live. So I'm Rajiv Ahmed, and right now today I'm in my capacity as advisor of Women in E-commerce Forum. This is a organization working for the women who are participating, who are in any way interested about e-commerce in Bangladesh. And we have we have a Facebook group, we have a website, we have a organization, we have an office, and I'm the advisor of this organization. With it started October 2017, but I took charge of the group from last year, August 18, 2019. So in 1 year, this group has grown. It was just a group of Facebook group of 3,000 members, and now we have 835,000 members. We have seen huge growth in just 1 year, and most of the growth has come during the corona period. I remember that on 20th March, we celebrated our 50K members, and now in the last 5 months we have got around additional 800,000 people joining the group, and we have members from all across the country, from every district, and I think now from almost every village, or at least half of the rural areas. And also from Dhaka, we have more than 350,000 members, and 70% of our Facebook group members are female, but 90% of the active members who are entrepreneurs, who do e-commerce business or e-commerce entrepreneurs, they are female. So, and they are trying their best to survive during the corona period, because as you know that in March there was a total deadlock or uh, lockdown, as we call it here. So there was total lockdown from March 22nd, and it was a struggling time for all of us. But gradually, the government did one very good thing. The government declared e-commerce delivery as a part of emergency service. So
wow, that's amazing.
Yes, in April.
What does that mean exactly?
What happened is that
as an emergency service,
it means it's emergency services like a hospital, like a newspaper, etc. And so e-commerce delivery was included in that part. That it will get a special facility, and there will be no obstruction from any side. And instead, the government encouraged and supported e-commerce delivery. So as a result, our entrepreneurs, they could resume their business activities, and because we totally support the local products or Deshi Ponno in Bangla, since you are also Bangladeshi, so you know what it means. So the made in Bangladesh products, the Bangladeshi products, and so we did not suffer so much problem in sourcing the product, as our members work on local Bangladeshi made products. It can be food, it can be clothes, it can be handmade ornament, and Bangladesh has very rich history in arts and crafts.
Arts and crafts, right?
Arts and crafts, yes. Yeah. So like handloom shari, handloom dress, fabric, and also handmade ornament. So now it is a very active group. We have a very active group, and every day we have an active member base of 600,000. According to Facebook group, I'm not claiming it. I'm not making.
I understand.
Yes, it's Facebook Insight.
There's another thing that Rajiv Bhai, before we forget, tell us a little bit about your original how you started your company and how you became an entrepreneur with because you understand how Facebook works in Bangladesh. Facebook actually is a very important part of Bangladesh. When you go out of the cities, for all of our attendants that are joining, a lot of people in Bangladesh know Facebook as the internet. They don't know the difference between the internet and Facebook. So Facebook, on the contrary to a lot of other countries that I've lived in and visited, in Bangladesh plays a massive role in how opinions are formed, in how people purchase, in a lot of service delivery. So Rajiv Bhai, just if you could quickly tell us a little bit about your first initiative on Facebook and what you were able to do and how Facebook actually reached out to you as a success of that project.
Yes, just before that, I want to give you some idea about the dominance of Facebook in Bangladesh. It is not the social media, actually, it is the media. It is the media, because we have now more than 35 million Facebook accounts. So it's huge, and no media can even come close to that. What Facebook can, the popularity of Facebook, come to the popularity of Facebook. So we have at least 100,000 Facebook pages, as we call it, F-commerce on Facebook commerce. It's not
F-commerce.
that all of them are active. 100, more than 100,000 initiatives. So it's not that all the pages are active, all the businesses are active, but e-commerce mostly is done through Facebook page, and it is, as you said, it is everywhere, even in villages, even rural people, even in large cities, even highly educated people use Facebook. Even those who are not so educated, they also use Facebook. So now coming back to my initiative, in 2014, some of us formed E-Commerce Association of Bangladesh, and I took charge as the founder president. I was the first president or the founder president, and we had to form opinion to get it government recognition, and also broadcast the message of e-commerce, or also e-commerce association to the people outside of the industry, because it needed some popular support, some media support, some government support at that time. So we started a Facebook page and also Facebook group. As the founder president, I took charge of the group, and it took 8 months to get through the message to the to the young people mostly, because at that time I noticed that the people who will be interested about e-commerce as entrepreneurs and also as customers or consumer users, they live in Facebook. They do. I cannot find them in newspaper. I cannot find them in television. I cannot find them in a place like Dhanmondi Lake. They are mostly in Facebook because they are some tech savvy, and also they understand the potential of Facebook. So I started giving day and night for the Facebook group, and it just took 1 year. And after 1.5 years, I realized that yes, by ECAP's Facebook group, I could take e-commerce to all the people in the country, in all the districts. The message that yes, e-commerce is needed, and e-commerce has huge potential in our country. This was the main message, and this was the main justification that yes, there should be a separate association or trade association only for e-commerce.
Yep.
The logic or justification behind that. So after 1.5 years in 2016, I realized that yes, I am the person who could take e-commerce, and my background does not include e-commerce in education or in profession. I was not an e-commerce businessman, and I did not study either commerce or computer science. None of that. I studied humanities and English literature and English language teaching. So I thought that yes, I can take if I can take the message of e-commerce to young people, and I did not have any background on it, so I can do the same thing in a much better way of the thing that I have studied. I've studied and I worked as an English language teacher in a private university in the country, and I have studied it in English department of Dhaka University. So yes, I can do it better because I know how to teach people, how to improve, how to ensure that they will improve in English. So
is that when you started Search English?
Yeah, 2016 July.
Okay,
so it was just a Facebook group, but in 2018 it became very successful. We got some we became successful in getting into Grameenphone Accelerator program. And
so
also,
it's just for the attendance for our viewers today. Search English is a Facebook group for people that want to learn English, and there are members from all over the world. It's not only in Bangladesh, right, Rajibhai?
Yes, we have more than 2.7 million members, and
more than 2.7 million members. Yeah.
Yes, and it is most probably the largest Facebook group on English language, and
the largest in the world. Largest Facebook group on English language.
In English learning or English practice. So we have 2 million people from 2 million members from Bangladesh, and 0.7 million from the rest of the world, or 700,000 from the rest of the world, but mostly from Asia, and also from Africa, naturally. And our top member she's from Indonesia. She's not Bangladeshi. Her name is Sijuarsi. She lives in Indonesia, and she has been consistently the top member. By top member, we means the number of comments she writes. She writes every day 200, 300 comments. So for the last 1.5 years, she has been continuously and consistently the number one.
I've noticed one thing that with your Search English group, when I was in Bangladesh for about 4 years, I started a business there for about 4 years, and then I moved back to Australia. And there are a lot of English instructors that are posting how to learn English on your page. It's very, very, very useful, and there are lots of people that are genuinely interacting with this particular group. So I can see that you created the group. That was a phenomenal success for you. I believe you also got into an accelerator program. You ended up exiting the program, and Facebook also invited you. You got an award from Facebook?
Yes, Facebook made a list of 115 persons who could use Facebook effectively or for the community, for the development or improvement of community, and it was called a Facebook Community Leadership Program, FCLP. And I was among 115 such persons or such community
in the world.
In the whole world, and from
Bangladesh,
I was only one, and from Asia only 21. So 21 persons were selected. So I was one of them, and I went to Facebook. Uh, I went to Facebook office thrice or three times in 2018 and 2019. So it ended in September 2019, and because for Search English, Search English was runners up in Basis National ICT Award competition in 2019, and also we got Social Media Empowerment Award from New Delhi, and it was a contest of eight South Asian countries, and we got champion. We became champions there in in uh, in this event in 2019. So yes, with Search English, yes, we have some impressive success. We have some impressive success stories, but the best thing is that because of Search English now, hundreds of thousands of people, they are not afraid of English anymore, English language anymore, and they are not ashamed. I have the unique approach or the innovation with Search English was that in Bangladesh, we study English language for 12 years, from class grade 1 to grade 12, but still we are afraid, and we feel ashamed. We are afraid that if we are making mistake, we feel ashamed that if we make any mistake, others will laugh at us. But Search English could break that barrier. And
I noticed that. I remember people making speeches as they are learning English, and it's a very supportive group. Everybody is supporting them on, and it building their confidence in the process. And it is a very unique group. I have not come across any sort of learning platform. I would also call it probably a learning platform that at the same time builds confidence in people, because pronunciation is a big challenge for people that are learning any language, for that matter, right? So it breaks the barrier very, very, very quickly. So one of the things the reason I wanted you to talk a little bit about your background in leveraging Facebook and being the founding president of the E-commerce Association of Bangladesh is, around the world, we're seeing, I have a background in e-commerce. I also started an agency. As you know, in Bangladesh, we do B2B marketing, promoting Bangladeshi products overseas. And I worked extensively in Australia in the digital media industry. And what we have noticed is, as a result of COVID-19, e-commerce is doing phenomenal. The opportunities in e-commerce is growing, and people are getting websites that didn't have any before. They're working to encourage and establish their presence online. Now, it's a very commercial, e-commerce is a very commercial activity, right? So you're getting online to buy something, or you get a service, or you buy a product, order something or whatnot. Going back to what you mentioned about Bangladesh, just around the pandemic started, I guess becoming an issue before
March.
It was around March around the world. We were thinking about it. We're hearing about it in the news. We thought it was going to be isolated to China and East Asia, but obviously it impacted the rest of the world. We were all very scared, right? People are working from home. People are worried about, okay, I'm ordering something online. What if the package has COVID on it? We didn't know what was really going on, and that was across the world. But what I find very interesting is, with the government of Bangladesh taking that initiative and identifying e-commerce delivery as an emergency service. So tell me a little bit about how this has impacted not only SMEs, but also how it's impacted existing organizations, existing retailers, and also other organizations that are not retailers, service-based organizations as well, if at all.
What happened is that when COVID, the pandemic situation started in March, so at first there was a lockdown, and naturally e-commerce activities were also hampered. But after very soon the government declared it as a part of emergency service, and because of this, all the doors started to open. And most of the markets, like the brick and mortar shops, markets, they are closed, and the business activities have not yet become 100% normal. It has not come back.
I understand. Yeah.
The only channel or the only medium was e-commerce. Even supermarkets or even super shop, they were also they started also focusing on home delivery, and if you order them, they will send it. So they had to rely on e-commerce. Because of government support, and we felt the courage, and because of delivery, and also delivery companies, they also took it seriously. So there have been many new initiatives in Facebook, and many people working in the private sector, they lost job or their salaries got stopped, or many of our group members, as I said, they're female, and their husbands, they were struggling to get a salary, or even some of them lost their jobs. So they started, and their husbands supported. They started taking the initiative. Maybe they were before pandemic situation started. Many of these women were maybe like hobby entrepreneurs. They did not take it seriously. But when they saw that yes, their husband has lost maybe the total income or a significant part of the income that their husband is to bring home every month, now suddenly it has disappeared. It is simply vanished. So they started taking it seriously in their page, in our group, in some other groups, and their husband supported in every way possible, because the husbands also needed to get the money. So maybe they supported the delivery, especially if they live in Dhaka. The husbands took care of the delivery. So this way they could ensure a faster delivery and could pick up the money. So this is one area, and many, as I said, many people lost or income in the private sector. So they started opening new pages. It doesn't mean that they are getting overnight. They are earning overnight. But what has happened is that when you are at home doing nothing and you are frustrated, depressed, and worried for the future, but you can see that yes, in e-commerce, in Facebook, there is an alternative. There is an alternate profession. There is an alternative job, source of income. It's not job, but there is an alternative to life or economic activities. So they started a page, and they started promoting the page, and also they started trying to sell something. So when you are busy, when during unemployment or when during a crisis moment, you are busy with doing something, and you know that it has potential, because thousands of people are already selling. It's not that it's a fluke, or it's that there is a new craze. No, it's not like that. It's a very solid, viable business in e-commerce. As you said, it's a totally commercially driven initiative. So because of this, they got a lot of confidence, mental peace, and they could start doing something. For example, 2 months ago, it was the mango time, the mango fruit, mango season. So many this time I noticed that many people started selling mango via Facebook or via e-commerce. And in the last 1 month, we have noticed that it is a Hilsha fish time.
Fish. It's a particular type of fish that is very popular in Bangladesh.
Yes, national fish of Bangladesh, and 1% of the GDP is related to this Hilsha fish. So
1% of GDP comes from Hilsha fish buying and selling. Oh wow! Okay.
Yes. So it's a very valuable fish.
Yeah, it's pretty large.
It's more valuable than gold in Bangladesh. So yes. So now many of them are selling Hilsha fish from Chatpur, from Borishal, from where all the fish, Hilsha fish, come to Dhaka and other places. So because of Facebook, you can send mango, you can send Hilsha fish to any place and anytime. So this is how technology enables you. Facebook has enabled all of us to start something, and as I said, it's really a viable option. It's not that we have got frustrated, we have lost hope, so we are doing something out of desperation. It's not that. If you're serious, Yes, you can start a career, you can start an initiative, you can become an entrepreneur.
Because there's no other option. I remember when a particular location in Dhaka, old Dhaka, our capital city, was on lockdown, and I reached out to you to ask about, how are people facing the mental stress of being, locked in their homes, and you mentioned that, look, people are not as worried about their mental situation as they're worried about their income and being able to pay their bills. So that, and when you think about it, at the sort of, if you look at the Maslow's hierarchy system, when you're not able to have any certainty about how you're going to pay your rent, pay your electricity, and school fees of your children, there's little time to be depressed and have mental health issues. And I came across a very interesting article. Actually, you shared that article about a particular program that was initiated by Women in E-commerce, of which you're an advisor, and it was promoting individual entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, and helping them with the branding. Can you tell us a little bit about that project, that promotion that you were doing?
Okay, it was a newspaper report, and it was a news website report, and they featured some of our entrepreneurs who were struggling at the time, and we told them that, look, in your page you have maybe 500 likes, 100 likes. So it's when you write something, then it doesn't reach to many people. But try to be active in V group. Try to be active, as much active as possible, because at the time we have like 50,000 members, and when you are active, naturally some people will know you. And in e-commerce, if you want to become a brand, most of our entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, they cannot imagine of becoming a brand, because it needs too much money, too much investment, and they need an office, they need to hire employees. But in a Facebook group with 50,000 members, now 800,000 members, or 100,000 members, you can write something, you can put a photo, you can do a video, and at least 1,000 people will see it. To earn a living, you don't need a lot of customers. You need only a few customers to earn a living or to get some sales. So even if you can get 100 customers, it is enough. That will take your business and take your livelihood for maybe 1 or 2 months. You don't need more. You cannot imagine of building a brand and get 100,000 customers. It's not that going to happen. When you have a page of only 1,000 likes and no one has heard about your page. So the main problem of Facebook page is that there is no identity, and a page is a page. It's not a personal identity. But in our online e-commerce platform, we encourage them to build their own personal branding, personal identity, personal identity. So if they can do it, then they can they can start getting orders. And one mistake
it also builds confidence.
It also builds confidence. And during Corona time, it really worked. And many of them, they started getting orders. And another thing we encourage is that try to buy something that you know. It's the main problem in e-commerce in Bangladesh is that we buy from Facebook pages that we have no idea about it. We don't know who is behind this. So as a result, if there is a problem, we get frustrated and we don't want to buy again or order again from Facebook or website. But here, what happened is that the entrepreneurs that they are promoting, we are promoting. There is media coverage, and in our group, they're writing. So we know them, and they know each other.
Is that a way? When you say we know them, do you have like an authentication or verification process whereby if there is a particular buyer that is not happy with the service or the product, can you come in and mediate the situation?
Yes.
Are you providing some sort of a service like that, or is that something they have to pay for?
No, we provide an informal solution to that. When this kind of problem happens, then they just send us message in Facebook, and we try to mediate. And every month we have like around 100 to 200 such problems. But 99% of the cases there is no problem, because in the transaction on or selling and buying. It
Sure.
doesn't happen. Why it doesn't happen? Because they know each other. They know that, yes, or maybe they're in the friend list. They buy someone from who is in we group, but at the same time they are also, she is in their friend list.
Another thing about Bangladesh is
just
it's very
imagine
common to have 1,000 friends on Facebook, right?
Yes,
very
but no. What happened is that because if you are active in a particular group, naturally you start writing comments, and your friend list will have more people from this industry, from e-commerce, from the same group. Because you and I are in the same group, we are writing comments, we are writing posts, so we know each other, and then we send friend requests.
So that's really interesting.
Naturally.
That's really interesting.
That is the main secret, actually.
You know, it would be like, as you were saying, that it could be a friend of mine that under normal circumstances would not, I wouldn't know whether he or she is into selling a particular product or service, but what you're doing is you're providing a platform to give them that extra boost, that confidence to be able to start a business, an e-commerce business, and then as a friend of that particular person, now be like, hey, that's great. That person is part of Women in E-commerce, and they're selling this product. It looks legitimate. Let me reach out to that person, right? So you are kind of allowing them to reconnect to each other on a commercial level, right? That's really, really interesting. Really interesting. So,
yes, just let me elaborate a little bit. So what we say that try to, at first, do not try to sell anything. Do not focus on selling anything. And in Weave, it is not a selling platform. It's promoting Bangladeshi products and also promoting the entrepreneur. So have your personal identity, have your personal brand, and then you get engaged. So what we say that for 100 days, you try to spend as much as possible in our platform. Write comments. Every day write 100 comments. So what happens is that when you are active in a particular place, so in your friend list, you will have every day new friends joining in your friend list from the same group. And secondly, when they see in your profile that you are the owner of a Facebook page, you have an initiative, they like it. So within 100 days, in your friend list, there is going to be from 500 to 1,000 new friends from We Group who are also entrepreneurs, who are interested in e-commerce, who understand, who are also customers, and who regularly buy something from online. Because in my friend list, I may have 5,000 people, but not even 50 are regular buyers from e-commerce. But if I have 500 friends in my friend list from We Group, then out of 500 they know about e-commerce. They are buying something, they are selling something. I don't need to explain to them that, look, I'm selling this is good, or you can trust me. They already have or you should buy something from online. There are many benefits of buying from online. You don't need to convince them. They're already convinced. They're in the same track like as you are. So they are, and some of them, and within 100 days, we have noticed that the like of your page will increase, Facebook page will increase 1,000. So you will have more 1,000, almost 1,000 followers.
It's so hard to get 1,000 legitimate likes outside this particular. It's not easy to get it. You know, there's a lot of
out of 1,900 are genuine, and also they know about e-commerce.
Yeah, exactly. Genuine likes, legitimate likes are very hard.
They know about e-commerce. It's 100% organic and 100% free of cost. You don't need to spend even anything.
You don't have to spend anything on Facebook.
Yes.
And,
so this is the basic idea, and we encourage them to you work something with Bangladeshi product, anything you like. Maybe you're good at cooking, so you sell homemade food. Maybe you live in Sylhet, and in Sylhet there is Manipuri shari. You sell it. You take an initiative. So maybe you are in Rajshahi. Rajshahi has the best mango in the country. You are living in Chatpur, so you can sell hilsa fish. So we have also used this idea that in Bangladesh, every district has something that is good. Like Kumilla has khadi fabric and also Rosmalai. Kumilla's Rosmalai is very famous. Tangail has Tangail shari and also Tangail chomjo.
So shari is our traditional, for the attendants that are not aware of what shari is, it's a traditional sari that we wear. Bangladesh is actually very well known for hundreds of years. It was known for muslin muslin,
and now Jamani.
MUSLIN, and which was a extremely profitable industry. And then colonialism happened, and manufacturing happened, and we lost a lot of our capabilities as a result. But now, with technology and a booming economy as well. So with Rajiv Bhai, you can talk a little bit about how Bangladesh's economy is booming. It's what, 6-7% GDP growth rate.
It was close to 8%. It was close to 8%, and consistently we had 7% growth for the last few years.
Yeah.
So in the next 10 years, Bangladesh is going to overtake another maybe 10 countries in GDP size.
Yeah.
And as in terms of per capita income, we have already crossed Pakistan. We are going to cross India.
So it's a very young population. There's people are trying to do different things, new things, and there is a concerted effort by the government to build a knowledge economy. But having said all these, what we talked about so far is about pivoting internally. So pivoting on an individual level. So pivoting as in, changing your mindset and your outlook and your overall strategy as to how you can make a living, right? Rajiv Bhai, can you talk a little bit about what larger organizations are doing, like the retail businesses are doing, and also established businesses that are not the, stay-at-home moms or stay-at-home wives or sisters, and, but more so to do with the remainder part of the economy. How are they responding? How are they pivoting in COVID period?
The government has announced a financial package for as you said, the larger industry like garments industry and other industries.
Apparel and garments, yeah.
Yes, there is some financial aid coming. So, now economic activities are coming back to normal. Maybe after 1 or 2 months, it will again come back to normal, almost near normal activities. So it has been a tough 5 months, but compared to many countries, Bangladesh is surviving well. If you look at economy, and now we have only every day 2,000 new cases, 30 or 40 death counts. So still it's high, but yes, economic activities are coming back slowly.
Would you say that it's mainly driven by the government, or would you say that there are some individual unique things that the private enterprise is actually doing without the assistance of the government, or despite the assistance from the government? Because the government can only do so much, right?
Yes, the government has done as much as it could do.
Exactly.
And the private sector, they are also trying their best, because it's an unimaginable situation. We never experienced such thing. No country in the world had this kind of terrible experience. So yes, private sector is also trying its best, and now slowly condition is becoming better, and the GDP growth will not suffer so much like many other countries. So but the best thing, the biggest support has come from the NRBs. The NRBs
non-resident Bangladeshis. Yes. So like myself, we're overseas. Yes. Okay. What sort of support are coming?
Remittance.
Remittance.
Huge number, because we were worried that because of corona, economic activities came to a halt, a standstill. So we were afraid that if it continues, then maybe there will be some problem with foreign currency reserve. But it did not happen, and instead we have a very healthy foreign currency reserve now, and it has happened mainly because of the expats living in Middle East, living in like USA, Australia, England, Italy. So this support was proved to be vital, and export revenue did not fall so much. Export revenue or foreign currency through export, it also did not suffer so much because of these two factors. So the economy is doing. I would not say that it's doing great, but yes, compared to many other countries, or it is doing far better than what we imagined, or we were stressed, we were worried, but it is doing okay.
So in comparison, in Australia, I can tell you about my own experience when the situation started getting worse, and there's a lot of media coverage every morning. We get an update as to how many people have gotten infected. I live myself in Sydney, which is in New South Wales, a different state. Victoria is a state right next to us, and that's where Melbourne is. And as you may have heard in the news, that Melbourne has had a proper lockdown, and it has had a second wave. That's what they're calling it. But what had happened, from my sort of anecdotal feedback, personal feedback, is that there was a lot of anxiety about job losses. Specific industries got really affected by COVID, particularly the industry which is hospitality. So restaurants,
tourism sector. Yeah.
Tourism sector. How they are, it's quite interesting, not on a national level, but I'm noticing on a local level, on a suburban level, some of these suburban shopping centers and restaurants and cafes are actually doing quite, not as bad, they're doing quite well, because there are more and more people that are ordering food. What have you seen in Bangladesh in terms of the hospitality sector, how it got affected? Tourism and hospitality. I know tourism was growing phenomenally when I left Bangladesh. It was doing really well. Local tourism, domestic tourism. Can you tell a little bit about these two industry sectors, how they have pivoted, how businesses have responded?
So the businesses in tourism sector, they are gradually opening, and in Cox's Bazar, tourists are again going, and some other tourist destinations also. This industry got particularly very badly hit, no doubt about that, but it's again coming back. It's coming back. One reason that I'm optimistic, or I sound much more optimistic than most people, is that in Bangladesh we have faced many natural disasters, floods and cyclones for, like say, last 50 years that we have suffered such large scale damages because of flood. And after every 5 or 10 years we have a major flood devastating the most parts of the country, or after every 5 years there is a terrible storm again devastating or killing many people. So we have experienced these things for maybe 50 years, 100 years. So we are a resilient nation. We are a resilient nation, and people are, they know that yes, this is a part of life. Life is not rosy here. So it's common. And so that's why we have less anxiety than many developed or rich countries. This is one reason. We have this sense of resilience, sense of optimism, sense of our fighting spirit in our culture, in our mindset. So this is actually the reason. It's not that condition is not so good, but yes, we have learned to adjust, adapt, and another thing is that in Bangladesh still family values matter, relationship, relatives, friendship. So we support each other. It's not that like Western countries, we don't know who is in the next apartment. We never meet them or see them. But in Bangladesh, yes, if you face problem, you have some, maybe you don't have an insurance, but you have some family support, relative support, even some close friends come in support of you. So this is another reason that we are doing. We are supporting each other, and we are just moving forward. Schools and education institutes are still closed. So we are waiting for that part when it will open. Then economic activities will happen more, because when schools and all the colleges, universities, everything, all the education institutions are closed, it doesn't only hamper the educational activities, but a lot of jobs are based near the school, near the college, or on campus.
So cafes, this is restaurants.
Restaurants. Even many rickshaw pullers.
Transportation, rickshaw pullers, and taxis, and
everything.
So it's quite interesting that you have said that, because when I'm in Australia, I'm looking at the world from these glasses, right, in Australia, and in being anxious with the remainder of the population. And when you open the newspaper in Bangladesh, you tend to get the bad news, just like anywhere in the world, right? But at the end of the day, it's about resilience. It's about supporting each other. There is a new concept. It's not a new concept, but rather the talk about the new normal, right? So the new normal is a term that's used in Australia and all over the world. I would say mostly in the Western part of the world, that things are not going to go back to normal, right? Now, and that has to do with, let's say, in the workspace, there's social distancing. You're not shaking hands. You are coming up with a COVID-safe workplace certification. And so then there are cleaning companies that are specializing in COVID cleaning. Is that the same sort of attitude that you would say in Bangladesh, where you're thinking that things are not going to go back to normal? It's going to be different, or is it different in the sense that you're thinking that things will go back to normal? So are there new industries coming up? So is that the concept there in terms of the new normal, or is it just normal is just normal, not new or not old? Normal is just normal.
We are more hopeful that yes, it will become normal. And another thing that there is one significant difference between Australia and Bangladesh in employment is that most people in Bangladesh, they are employed in the informal sector, like someone pulling a rickshaw, someone selling something in the roadside, or people are working as agriculture. They don't have any contract. They don't need to go to any office. So 100%. Most jobs are in the informal sector. There is no office. There is no workplace.
Yes.
So you have to understand that reality.
Yes.
And still a large part of the population are living in the rural areas, in villages, and also in small cities, small towns. So it's just opposite of Australia, because in Australia the jobs are maybe in the manufacturing sector, in the
service sector, professional
sector, and they go to a fixed place. Even in the small towns, there are jobs in factories, in service industry. But here it is not like that. It's more informal. Most of the employments are in the informal sector. So
what about the formal sector? What about the professional services sector, like telecommunications, government, education, IT? IT you can work from home effectively. You don't really need to go. But something like the government, the Bangladesh government is still heavily reliant on paper pushing, right? So the old school method where you have to go somewhere and get things on a paper and get it signed and talk to one person, they will tell you to talk to somebody else. Has COVID pushed the government and the services sector, particularly within the government, to change the way they work, change the way they provide?
Yes, and when COVID started, there was a general holiday, even government offices were closed. Now, it is becoming almost normal. The government offices are becoming normal, and
right,
they are again open. And
so you still have to go to the government offices.
So, attitude is changing. They are doing many works with Zoom. They are holding many meetings with virtually. So yes, it is changing. It's not like the old style or the school anymore. So it is changing, and it is changing rapidly. So there is a balance. I mean, the old system is yet in place, but the new system is slowly taking charge. The new reality.
And in the workplace, do you have any? I'm sure you have a lot of friends and family members that work at these multinational companies. So with the multinational companies, are they also what sort of COVID related pivoting have done? Would you say at the workplace?
I don't have much idea about multinational companies. I don't have much idea about multinational companies because I'm always busy in Facebook. So I have got touch. I have lost my touch out with reality, the real world. So, but what I can see from can see from Facebook post or maybe media report is that the multinational companies, they are still some reserved, and they have not come back to their normal business yet, and they are doing the work from home. So that is still happening. But yes, they have started some office, but many workers are still working from home. As for new kind of business, new kind of opportunities, we have to just wait a bit more, because now economic activities are coming back to normal level slowly. But what I feel is that there will be new kind of opportunities, especially in the education sector, online education, e-commerce. There will be more activities in e-commerce. Even the established companies, now they are thinking, many of them did not have a website, or they had a website just for showing that, yes, we have a website or a Facebook page. But they did not focus on selling and buying, reaching to the customer through e-commerce. They did not take it so seriously, but now they have a shift in attitude and they are thinking about it seriously. One important area that is going to change is education sector. Because if this new normal really takes effect, then we have to go for online education, and we need to invest on online education, and that has started. All the private universities now, they are taking class. Even many schools are taking class via Zoom. So it has already started, and it is going to expand. So as I say, that educational institutions have not opened, but they're taking class via Zoom. So they're open. So
wow. Okay. So all the schools and primary schools and universities, they're still closed?
Primary, yes. All the schools, college, universities, they're closed.
Right.
For the school, what government has done, that there's a television channel, and they are broadcasting classes. Also, these classes are broadcast by Facebook Live. And as for colleges, as for universities, they are taking their own classes by Zoom. So things are moving, and it's not a complete. It's not a complete deadlock. It's
not a complete deadlock. And I was talking to my friends the other day, and they're saying, "Oh, the traffic jams have come back to normal. Like traffic jam in Dhaka city apparently is the same as it used to be pre-COVID. It's that has not changed." Another thing I noticed go ahead.
And traffic jam has come back because we are tired and bored of staying for the last 4 months, 5 months. So, and many of us have to go out for make a living. So we have to go.
You have to go. There's no other option. I also noticed that from the very early stage in Bangladesh, in Dhaka city, I'm not sure about outside Dhaka, people are very comfortable with wearing masks. It's a very normal thing. Even before COVID, I remember when I was there, masks are sold on the street side because of the pollution. So and the dust and the construction that's going around because it's a booming economy. But what I noticed in Australia, not a lot of people were wearing masks in the beginning. Now I'm seeing more and more people wearing masks. And in Bangladesh, it seemed like everybody, like across every single society echelon, from the super rich all the way through to the informal workers and the day laborers, they're all wearing masks, which I found really, really, really interesting and a really positive thing, which I was very proud of, I think, at my end. Whereas, and that's happening right now, continues to happen. People are continuing observing.
It is happening.
That's excellent.
It is happening. And again, I like to go back to one point that I said, that in Bangladesh we are more optimistic. We are more hopeful. If you look at the comments in your Facebook, if you look at the comments, I can see that there has been more than 900 comments. So 99% of the comments you'll see very normal. I mean, there is no fear, there is no sense of anxiety or depression or any you will not find any negative comment. There are now 935 comments. So out of 935 comments, you will see most of the comments are happy, or at least they're normal. So that is one important thing, that many of us are hopeful, and we will pass this situation. So it will just take some time.
So we have about 8 minutes left to our webinar. It's been such a pleasure talking to Rajiv Bhai as always. Very enlightening person. I've known Rajiv Bhai, for many years. I remember when we first started our company in Bangladesh. 5 years, 5 years. And you came to you were the first, you were the only association that actually came to our press conference, and we got to know you. And I'm very, very happy to have kept in touch with you. You've given me an amazing amount of advice as I was going on my own entrepreneurial journey. If we were to sum up how to pivot, right? So we talked about pivoting as in changing your strategy, changing your alignment to achieve a particular goal or a set of outcomes. We talked about mostly from the individual perspective, from a potential employee that has lost their job and a citizen. We talked about stay-at-home moms and wives taking charge of their family's financial situation, and you providing a platform allowing them to do something about it rather than be depressed and think about the future with uncertainty, and perhaps even waiting for handouts, because there are a lot of governments out there in a lot of economies where the social welfare system, people are reliant on handouts from the government, right? Here, I've noticed that the government has played a part in Bangladesh. Obviously, it's quite different. It's very strategic rather than giving handouts to individuals. I understand the government is helping certain types of industry, larger companies that are employing thousands and thousands of people, which is quite important. But overall, if you were to sum up how to pivot from an individual level, how do you pivot? What are the key things, would you say, that you require from a personal perspective, who has been impacted by COVID, whose family member might have lost a job, and you're out there and you have to make a living? What would you say are the most important things that is required to be able to pivot your overall approach to life, to day-to-day living? What would you say? Yeah.
First of all, I would like to advise someone that first look at your support system. In Bangladesh, as I said, that we are family oriented. We are more social. So look at your support system. Look at your family members. Look at your friends and relatives or neighbors. Sometimes even neighbors help. So just try to have some mental strength that yes, you are not alone. You have some people, maybe 5 or 10 people, who will support you if you are in a desperate situation.
Yep.
This is the number one thing. When economic activities have decreased, so naturally, often you are helpless. Many of us have to maybe leave Dhaka or maybe shift to a smaller apartment. It has happened. So it has happened in Dhaka. So these things will happen, and these things are inevitable. So instead of getting depressed about the inevitable thing, because here everyone is helpless. Even government offices got closed for the first time in our history.
Yeah.
So everything got closed. So this thing happened. So when it is inevitable, it's try to just accept it. That it is inevitable. Acceptance is very important. Instead, focus on your support system, and also, as I said, we are hopeful that it will continue maybe another 3-4 months, and from January everything will almost get back to normal. So just try to have the mental courage that maybe it is another 3 months or maximum 6 months, and when the vaccine is going to come, then things will be much normal or much better. So maybe if you think that it is another even 6 months, it's 180 days. So we will survive. We always survive. People always survive. So I would strongly recommend to invest your time on learning the technology, learning the technology like Facebook, e-learning, maybe e-commerce. You don't have to be an e-commerce businessman, but try to have an idea, because it is clear that from now on, new jobs will be created in online education. online commerce or e-commerce. So anything related to internet, many jobs will be created. Many new business will be created. Anything related to anything related to online or internet. So if you are not a tech savvy guy, if you are not a person who likes internet, who likes Facebook, try to change your attitude, because you have to be in Facebook in Bangladesh not to chat, not to waste your time, not for time passing, for business and for your job, for your education. You have to be in internet. So from now on, invest that time. If you're staying at home, instead of getting sad, getting depressed, spend as much time as possible online and try to learn more about computer, maybe website, computer, anything related to internet. And this is going to be a huge investment for the for the future.
I think I'm just taking some notes here, and these are very, very important. You know, these are very, very fundamental things that you have highlighted, and you're coming from experience. And what I've got so far is firstly is to be able to pivot yourself, reach out to a support system, identify your support system. It could be a friend, it could be your partner, it could be your family. It could be also your fellow co-workers, right?
Yeah.
So a support system to be able to identify is quite important. Secondly, is there is inevitable issues that will come from that has come from this pandemic, and to be able to accept the reality rather than pushing against the reality, pushing against the inevitable. So acceptance is number two. Thirdly, as you mentioned, this is universal, I would say, is to have the mental strength and positive outlook, as you mentioned. And being from not only in Bangladesh, people all over the world, as on an individual level, we all go through difficulties, right? We all, it doesn't matter if you're in Australia or in America or Lebanon or Bangladesh, right? We all have our individual challenges. So the third thing I got from you, as I mentioned, is to try to develop that mental strength. And that's also connected to your support system, right? If you have a good support system, they will help you with the mental strength. If you have accepted also the reality of the inevitable, that will also allow you to develop the mental strength and then obviously work towards a positive outlook. And being around people to be able to, being around people will help you develop that as well. Being around positive people will help you develop that. Fourth thing that I got from you is to be able to pivot effectively in a positive way. It's to be able to learn as much as possible. And in this case, particularly related to the internet, right? And as you mentioned, learning doesn't have to be, you have to be a coder overnight, or you have to be a web design specialist, right? It doesn't have to be the case, right? It could be just how does e-commerce work? How can people leverage of the of
just
Facebook?
The
basic.
Just learn the basics, so it will help you.
And it's not only going to help you now, it's an investment to the future as well. I was just thinking, all these people that have, let's say, the husband or the wife, one of the partners have lost their jobs, and they're, at home, and they're trying to build up their presence on women in e-commerce. And what happens when things go back to normal and their partners get a job? They get a new job. So now they're going to have double income, right?
Exactly.
So, so it's a pandemic has been extremely difficult for all of us, but after being pushed under this highly, highly pressurized environment, we are creating these opportunities for us. So when things do go back to normal, or the new normal, we'll be in a better place, in a better financial situation. And the last thing I wanted to conclude on was to take that step to start something, right? So you've got the support system, you've accepted your reality, you have the mental strength and positive outlook, you're learning, but the fifth thing is to start something, right? And to start something, and that's what you have provided. Women in e-commerce is to provide that platform, to have that confidence, to be able to start something, right? That first 100 days of being a part of this community is to upload content, upload questions, answer.
And you don't need to invest. You don't need to take any risk. You don't need to invest any money. We tell them that you don't need to invest any
free of
money.
cost.
You don't do any stocking. Don't have any stock. You just get yourself familiar, know some people, get some order, then you invest your money. Not before that.
Yeah, and that's another big challenge. When you go to YouTube, sometimes you see these advertisements. I will teach you how to make a 6-figure income, from selling stuff on Amazon, right? You have a lot of these advertisements now coming up because it seems to prey on people that are destitute, on people that have bills to pay. They are in debt and they don't have a job, and they are signing up to these courses. Whereas what you're providing by creating this community is free advice, legitimate advice from real people. And this is great what you're doing, and there's definitely a lot for everybody to learn from your initiatives, and also from what Bangladesh has done, and the Bangladeshi people that have gone through so much and continue to do so. But moving ahead with one of the most vibrant economies of the present and the future as well. That's pretty much all we have for time today. Rajiv Bhai, thank you so much for your time. And it's quite early in the morning, I understand, but it's been such a pleasure. I understand we have what we can do is on Facebook, there might be some questions. We might answer those questions at a later time, but we don't have any questions from Zoom. I don't see any questions from our Zoom, but what we'll do is generally we will, we are recording this session. We will send it to the attendants. We'll send it to a database. If you have any questions, Rajiv, I'm sure people can reach out to you if they have any questions directly.
Yes, and they can ask their questions in Facebook, because in your social outcomes lab post, there are more than 1,000 comments.
More than 1,000 comments. Wow. Since we started the session.
Yes.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you so much, Rajiv Bhai. You have a wonderful day. Please take care of yourself, and best wishes and all the prayers for your initiatives. Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you. Bye now.